you like this episode, please subscribe, share with others, rate and review so we can continue to bring you great programming.
This is The Thing About Cars, a podcast for car enthusiasts and the people who love them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is The Thing About Cars. I am one of your hosts, Mickey Desai. Around the table, we've got...
Hi, it's Don.
Hey, Ben here.
And it's just the three of us today. We have a special recording that we're doing on site at Italian Car Day Atlanta. Lots of cool eye candy around here. I personally am drawn to this blue Lancia over here, and there's a Pantera out there that's kind of screaming my name. But what are you guys seeing so far that's calling to you?
A Maserati, a Maserati.
Well, everything really, but yeah, I think for me it's between that Lancia and almost any of the Alfa Spyders.
I agree. The Alfa Spyders are very cool. Very, very cool.
And I should also mention, right kind of behind the handrail from our table, there is this 1950s looking Ferrari, and I overheard the owner talking about it. It is basically a replica of a 57 Testarossa, but when I say replica, it's all Ferrari. He was saying it's made on a 61 chassis with all 61 parts. And the thing he said about it was that the good news is it's all 60-year-old Ferrari parts. The bad news is it's all 60-year-old Ferrari parts. There's our quote of the day.
And where can you get the replacements for those 60-year-old parts? Yeah.
That's not going to happen too easily. Let's do one real quick segment of Grand Trivia Auto. I actually have a trivia question for us, an Italian car trivia question for us. The question is, you guys ready? Yeah. Okay. Which Italian supercar shared its platform with the Citroen? So which Italian supercar shared its platform with a Citroen? Citroen, of course, being a name you don't associate with any kind of supercar. But so our choices are a Lancia Thema, a 208 GTB Turbo, an Abarth 250A, or a Maserati Merak. You got that?
Yeah. We're going to do it at the end, though?
Yeah, we'll answer it at the end. Those choices again, just for our readers. You know which one? The choices are in reverse order: Maserati Merak, Abarth 250A, the 208 GTB Turbo, or a Lancia Thema. We'll answer that at the end of the show. So what are we going to do here today?
Just look at the cars.
and drool, lots of drooling.
Yeah.
Oh, and since you mentioned the French tie-in and the trivia question there, this is also French Car Day. They welcome French cars here, and there are a handful of them. Yeah. There's a Peugeot 505 from the 1980s. Someone has brought a Citroen 2CV. And there was another one that's evading my memory right now. But yeah. Oh, there's a Renault wagon from the 80s. Yep. And the French cars are very cool, too.
Yeah, and, we're forgetting the Alfa Romeos. We've got the Maserati and the Ferraris, but there's definitely those cute little Alfa Romeos. The car people that have those are really dedicated to that particular body style, and they're just fun cars.
Do we know anything about the history of the Alfa Romeo logo?
I don't, but I'll look it up.
Well, I was going to say, let's ask our listeners for that. If our listener can help us dig up some history on the Alfa Romeo logo. I've been told that there's an interesting story behind all that, and Alfa lovers in particular will appreciate the question. But I haven't yet done the research yet. Ben, do you know anything?
I've read it, but I don't really remember. But for those who can't picture it, this is a round symbol that has a cross on one side, and on the other side it has a big green snake that has a guy with a crown on his head poking out of the snake's mouth. It's probably some kind of old heraldry thing. I don't remember. I read it a long time ago.
Certainly some major religious overtones. I wonder if it's a saint or something.
Or, it could be Adam and Eve type thing. I mean, think of the snake and a cross. And I was looking at the logo yesterday, and I was wondering, because it's not clean. So many logos are... they're equal on each side, and this one is just very creative. It's very different logo.
Yeah, it sure is, and again, you got to love the Alfas. I spent some time with them myself when I was growing up. My dad had two of them. He had he bought a '74 Berlina, which is a nice four-door model. He bought in '79, and then in '84 he picked up a '76 Spyder, the convertible. And so I spent a fair amount of time in high school driving these myself. In fact, I learned how to drive a clutch on 2 cars, one of which was the Spyder. The other one was a 1970 Plymouth with a 3 on the tree. So, 2 great cars to learn manual gearboxes with. But there was one summer at my dad's house when he was at work. He'd give me a list of yard work to do. I was getting a little frustrated and bored, and I went in the house, grabbed the keys to the Spyder, went out to the garage, took that sucker out, gave it a good, fang around the countryside, central Georgia, down near Milledgeville. Just had a blast with it, had my sunglasses on, the top down. Even though the radio was cranked up, I couldn't hear it because it was one of these, 15-watt 1970s car radios. But beautiful, beautiful time. Dad caught the difference in the odometer, and as punishment, he made me help him change the points, which is a bear of a job on those cars, but I didn't mind because time in the garage with my dad working on cool cars was the highlight of my youth, so it's hardly punishment.
That's not a punishment at all for getting to drive that car, even if you did take it. It's absolutely not.
Yeah, it's great. It made a certain sound. Both of them did. They made a certain sound at about 4,500 RPM. This just throaty, it was a double overhead cam 4 with kind of primitive mechanical injection, and just a delight to drive. Really, really fun, and I miss those cars immensely.
Were those easy to shift?
Oh, yes. It was a ZF gearbox. It's a German-made transmission, essentially. But, yeah, very, very good shifting, good clutch action. Just nothing difficult about it except maybe if you're not used to not having power steering, you got to think about when you turn. But other than that, yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Ben, what is that?
Let me
that
turn
white
to
car
see
with
what
its
we're
rear
looking
engines.
at. That is that's the current Fiat 124 Spyder.
Is that the same thing that's over here behind the flag that's got the 3/4 view for us?
Yes.
Okay, so I was talking to Don about this earlier. Should we tell Misty about this?
Well, if she's listened this far, she knows already.
No, we haven't recorded this, but this Fiat Spyder is basically a Miata with a stronger engine in it. It's basically an MX-5 with a slightly souped-up engine. Isn't that right?
That is correct, and in my opinion, it has much better exterior styling, too. But she probably knows this already.
She does, but what is she going to say when I say something like, I kind of would rather have one of these instead of an MX-5?
No, you wouldn't.
You think she'll still talk to me after that?
Oh, yes, I'm sure she will, and the words might be a little...
I was being polite. I mean, she's going to say more than...
A little more than colorful. That's cool. There was something else I was going to ask you guys, and I can't remember what it was. But I got to give a shout out to John Montgomery, our friend who brings us here every year. He's one of our major supporters, and he's always extended a really gracious invitation to us to come out and play. We're really grateful for that. It's cool to come out and see all these cool people and their cool wheels. It's always a fun time. So next year, I anticipate we'll be here again, and I hope that some of our listeners will also come out and join us. We've been approached by a number of people already. At least I have. Have you? You've met with some people you know already, right, Ben?
Yes, I have. Shout out to my friends Dan and Pam who are here. They have a 67 Alfa Romeo Duetto, which is kind of the first of the Spyders. And they also have a 68 Lancia Fulvia, a beautiful blue color with a fantastic interior. Really, really beautiful cars, and they are rightly very proud of them.
All right, so I'm wondering, which car would you like to drive home if you had any choice here?
Oh my!
Yeah, how much time do we have? And can I have it? Can I bring a trailer?
Yeah, no,
Exactly,
just one
several
car,
trailers.
Just one.
Okay, so if I had to choose just one, and if it was based purely on fantasy, I would probably take. Personally, I would probably take one of these Ferraris, maybe that yellow one that's sitting right there.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say I would take that yellow Ferrari. Yeah.
That's pretty nice too. Of the Ferraris right here, that 5761 replica would be a lot of fun. And if anybody's wondering, no, neither Mickey nor myself will fit in that blue Lancia we've been talking about.
That blue
I think I would even fit in it. I mean, I'm 5'8", and I really don't think I would. That's why I like the Ferraris. I think that they just everything about them you fit better. Some of these little tiny cars, like that car, no, that, you know.
That little Alfa Spyder over there, yeah.
Little Spyder, too small for me. So yeah, the Ferrari right there looks perfect.
So there's a handful of Maseratis over my shoulder, yeah, and from a practical point of view, I've always been sort of attracted to Maseratis, and I have no idea why, except they kind of remind me of a gangster's car, right? They're sort of your brutal big brother in a parking lot full of more elegant, more sleek. I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding the vocabulary, but there's this one Maserati convertible over my shoulder, which just I kind of like the looks of it, and it looks like it would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they've got they are under Fiat's corporate umbrella now, so they have a lot of Ferrari bits in them, and they have really, really fantastic leather interiors. I've heard disparaging things about their quality and longevity, but you know, if you're in the realm of fantasy, hey, don't let anything hold you back.
Okay, so my snarky comment at this point is that we are talking about Italian cars. Quality and longevity aren't exactly hallmarks of Italian design.
Well, not by reputation anyway. The modern products certainly are better than the old ones for a lot of reasons, but you know, Italian cars are not inherently bad. I think a lot of the reputation comes in the United States, at least, from people who don't really understand them very well, not doing very good maintenance.
I have fun of driving it. These are not cars that you're going to be driving every day. This is a piece of art. I mean, this is what Italy is about. You know, Ferragamo, you know, shoes and anything you think that it's about a styling and it's about craftsmanship. It is not about Toyota. I mean, you know?
Well, that said, my dad daily drove his 1970s Alphas in the 80s, in Milledgeville, Georgia, no less. You know, these were cars that he had to call Atlanta to order parts from Italy to maintain, but he drove them every day in small town Georgia. And yeah, they weren't great when he got them, but that was because of a lot of that previous owner neglect. And he nursed them back to health, and I think he put 300,000 miles on the Berlina.
So there's this cultural statement that I've been trying to formulate in my mind, which has something to do with style versus practicality. And we live in a world that actually favors more hardcore practical choices than stylistic choices. And certainly I've been a major proponent of putting substance over style, right? On the other hand, these cars are cars, right? Cars are not supposed to be... Cars being the immediately depreciable objects that they are, I think injecting more style into that realm of driving is warranted, right? It's not like I don't know where I'm going with this.
You know, actually, I think I do know where you're going, because you if we think about utility, so cars are utility and they get us to and from. Well, as we move into the future, if cars become rental, like you don't need a car as much because now we're working from home more, everything's being delivered to our house. Shouldn't cars go into the realm of styling and therefore be, you know, that fun thing that you get to do instead of utility? I mean, it may be that the Ferraris of the world and the Maseratis and the Alfas just end up being the weekend Sunday driving, you know, throw in and just go,
Right.
Because you're not needing to go from point A to point B 5 times a week.
And that's the thing. It's like, you know, with as much time as especially in a city like Atlanta, with as much time as we put into our cars, and as much of a, you know, the big fraction of our lives that they occupy, shouldn't they simply be fun? And why do we accept boring instead of fun?
Well, I think the way the world works these days, with economies of scale, everything becoming a bigger and bigger, you know, line on a corporate sheet somewhere. You know, and the public are at the point where it's got to be, you know, utilitarian above all. They got to haul their kids around. They got to get to work. They've got to do all these things, and they have no time for anything that's a little questionable or that, you know, might have a problem someday, or even really sticks out in a crowd. A lot of people are afraid of that these days, I think. But adding a little fun factor, a little style, even on appliance cars, I think would be great.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to hand it to all the folks here. These are people who are really stepping out. Even the folks who are not bringing in the cars that cost 6 figures to own and operate. There's stuff here that's totally affordable. There's clearly cars here that are not 6-figure cars that are beautifully maintained, and they're just, you know, there's a certain romance about them that, again, I have to applaud all these owners and all these fans for embracing that. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, and think about this is their hobby in a lot of ways, and their passion. You know, when my convertible Mercedes was hit back in 2016 and they wanted to total it, I worked with my mechanic and my body shop to save that car. And it's still running. It's worth absolutely nothing, but it's a passion. So, you know, maybe utilitarian is okay, and then those of us that have a passion for something like these beautiful cars, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we all have our niche.
I think that's right.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And who's to say that something, you know, really fun won't get you to work? It will. I have experience with this. I can recall a time when my 2002 VW GTI couldn't be bothered to not be broken. And guess what? My 1986 Lotus Esprit got me to work. This happened more than once. So, yeah, you can do it. I don't recommend driving something like that for most people every day. But, you know, they're all meant to be driven. Every one of them.
So again, I'm going to give a shout to Joe Montgomery. Thank you, Joe, for bringing us out here today. We look forward to Italian Car Day 2020. Holy mackerel, what is that?
That is a Lamborghini Gallardo. I don't know if they call it a Spyder or a cabriolet, but it's got the top down.
I think it's a cabriolet. Yeah.
It is very nice.
That's very new. That body style is very new on that Lamborghini.
Maybe next year we can show up in our own Italian cars.
Well, you know, I wish I had taken a picture. Outside of Lenox a few weeks ago, there was a Bentley, a Lamborghini, and a Ferrari, which are my cat's names. And I should have taken a picture. So I've been looking. I'm waiting for a Bentley to pull up, and then I'll get a picture of a Lamborghini and a Ferrari and a Bentley.
Right. So I think, you know, what we should do is answer our trivia question and then spend some time walking around. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, our Grand Trivia Auto question for today's in-person episode was, which Italian supercar shared its platform with the Citroen? Was it an Abarth 250A? Was it a 208 GTB Turbo? Was it a Lancia Thema or a Maserati Merak? Dawn, you want to go first?
Sure. I think it's and I'm not going to pronounce this right, the Abarth, because just the body style, and I know Citroen so well, that's what I'm going with, and I don't know the other cars you named.
Let's see. I'm going to say it's the Maserati.
Okay, so Dawn had a reason for her choice. What's your reason for your choice?
Well, I'm aware that these two companies have worked on a lot of things together and shared some components.
Well, Ben, you'd be absolutely right. The Maserati did share a platform with a Citroen of all things, and it's just funny to think of a supercar sharing a platform with a French everyman's car. That's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, the most famous collaboration between the two is a car called the SM, which was Maserati branded, or no, it was Citroen branded, yes, but it had a Maserati engine in it, and it was a front-wheel drive, high-performance car. It used a V6 engine and a longitudinal drive transaxle for front-wheel drive there. That it's the same transmission that wound up not only in the Maserati Merak but also in the Lotus Esprit.
Okay.
Well, that's good stuff.
You know, to me, the Citroen with the convertible top looks like a tuna can, because you would roll back the canvas and it literally, or unzip it, and it looked like a tuna can.
It totally does, yeah.
You're thinking about the 2CV, yes, and it was made about like a tuna can.
There's one in here. I thought I saw one roll in. Yeah.
It's right over there. It's a green one. It's
oh yes, that's the typical color. That kind of
61, I believe. Mm-hmm. And joke about it all you will, but that's one of the most fantastic French cars of history.
Oh my God, it's such a huge piece of history, and people in this country will never know it, I think. But they're cool, and such a tiny little engine. It's like, what, a 2-cylinder or something?
Yeah, it's, I want to say 600cc, but don't quote me on that. It's an air-cooled horizontal twin.
All right, so let's go walk around. What do you think?
Absolutely, let's do it.
So thanks again to our friends and Thing About Cars family, folks. We really appreciate you joining us for this episode. Please join us at Italian Car Day next year. And in the meantime, we'll see you with another episode in about a week. Be careful, y'all.
See ya.
Take care.
Ciao.
Bella. Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.